Hey everybody, Sean, Mystic Valley Woodworks. Today I want to give you a quick pro tip on doing edge banding. What I have here is I have some maple plywood that I'm going to use for my face frame on a sliding barn door console, which there'll be a video out for that probably in about a week or two maybe. But anyway, I want to give you this quick pro tip. So what I like to do is I have all my tools. I have my J roller, my flush cut pliers, and my trimmer for the edge, and I'm going to show you how all this works. So what I do is I like to overlap the end about a quarter to a half inch. Take my hot iron and start it right there just to hold it in place. Okay? And no, I'm not worried about the iron. This is actually one that my wife told me I could use. I did ask for permission. You don't necessarily have to if you've got more than one iron in your house. Okay, so now that's stuck, okay? So what I'm gonna do is while that's still warm, also if you pull on it, it's gonna pull your edge banding down your board, so you're gonna have an open end. So what I like to do is I like to come down off that end about 6-7 inches, use my index finger or my thumb and middle finger to help hold that centered. Then I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to start from that point, and I'm just going to slowly work it down. You don't want to keep it on there for too long because you don't want to scorch the wood, but you want to keep it on there long enough to where if you need to readjust where the edge banding is going, you want it to be hot so you can do that. So I'm just going to run down so far, a couple feet maybe. And I'm going to make sure that everything is where I want it to be. I'm going to take my J roller and I'm going to roll across that, and you're going to hear the glue squeezing into the grain of the wood. And you want to hear that, and a lot of times that's also air bubbles that are being removed. Because if you have air bubbles under your glue, after a period of time, your edge banding is just going to start to peel back up. And nobody wants that piece of furniture that you just custom built for a client and then have the client call you back and say 3 months or 3 days and say, hey, there's something wrong with this thing. The edge banding's coming off, or whatever, the wood's messed up, and you find out your edge banding's coming off. So what I'm going to do is, I know I stopped about here. I can feel the difference between it stuck down and not stuck down. See, right there. You can feel the glue edge. So I'm going to go ahead and from there I'm going to go back another 6-8 inches, whatever. I'm going to start right there again. And again, I'm using my index finger, my thumb, and my middle finger to kind of keep the edge where I want it evenly spaced on either side. Now, how do you know if you're hot enough? Well, I'm going to tell you. If you go to lay your hand on it and you can only hold your finger on there for a second or two, then you're probably not hot enough, okay? But if you hold it down, put your iron down on there, okay? Yeah, and you can only hold it on there for less than a second, you're hot enough. So I'm going to come back with my J roller again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this process. Of course, your edge banding is going to want to roll up and down on you and do all kinds of crazy stuff because that's what edge banding does. So again, I'm going to lay it out, go about 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to go right back down through here again. And I like to come back a little bit more because I like to make sure mine's good and stuck. I'm going to come right here to the end. I'm going to just keep going all the way down. And I'm going to go all the way to the end of this one. I'm going to finish this roll out. Now, one thing that you may have a problem with, like I am here, see, because of the twist, it's wanting to pull that up. So we're just gonna go ahead and take our flush trim, leave ourselves about a ½ inch, cut that off of there. Make sure we're where we want to be. And let's start back on this end. And we want to reheat back down through here. The reason why I'm reheating, you don't necessarily have to do it, but the reason I am doing it is because it cools off fairly quickly. And I didn't get a chance to run my J roller. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to come backwards. And I'm going to go back forward again like this. I could hear that going through there. Okay. You can hear those air bubbles coming out and that glue sticking. Okay, then I'm going to come back to here, to the end, put the flush trim cutters on there, bam, cut it off. Take your edge cutter, start at the very beginning right here. There's enough room on your blade. What I like to do is once I get started, I actually squeeze in, let my thumb ride the other side of the board. And what's going to happen by doing that is it's going to allow that flush cutter to hit all the way down through there. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. Sometimes you may have to come back from the other end. And that, my friends, is how we do edge banding here at Mystic Valley. Edge banding is a great tool to use when you are trying to hide the layers of your plywood. And this being maple, you know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, 6, 7, because I have a face and a B face on this, meaning A face is your really good face, that's your face you want to use. B face may be not so good, it might have a knot and a veneer or whatever. But edge banding is perfect for when you want to hide those grains. If you like to show those grains, fine. I mean, it's your choice. On certain projects, I like to hide my grains, especially if I'm doing a cabinet and it's going to be a face frameless cabinet with inset doors or even overlay doors. Using your edge banding is a good way to hide that. Or if you want to get really slick, and I may do a video on this, you can use your thin strip guide and you can rip down thin strips of maple and or walnut or pine or whatever your project's being built out of, and you can rip it down fairly small, you know, as long as you have a 0 clearance plate on your table saw or however you decide to cut your strips. You could cut them down, you know, as thin as you possibly can, and then you could glue that on and come back with your router and a flush trim bit and trim that off, and then you would have an actual hardwood edge banding instead of veneer. Now this veneer here, like I said, I'm working with maple. I don't have any maple veneer, so what I'm using is by Bandit. I get this stuff from Home Depot or from Lowe's, and this is white birch. Birch and maple are very similar in their grain patterns, especially on this edge banding. This is going to be a stained project, so there's not going to be a difference in the way it looks, being so fine right there, being a thin section. So that's how I like to do it. I'll have a description in the link below for these flush cut. These are made by Fast Cap, same people that make the tape measures. Anyway, I'll have a description for this, a link in the bottom. I'll also have a link in the bottom for this J roller. This was my dad's J roller, which it's made by Hyde. Some J rollers, this one has foam. Some you can get have wood. I like them both. I just use this one because it's my dad's, and he's walking with the Lord now, so I like to use his because it was his. And then I will also have a description for this. There's several different kinds out there. There's one that looks like a clamshell and you squeeze it and it cuts on both sides. And then there's this one. There's not a name on it, so muster guess bish, whatever that is, I don't know. But anyway, there'll be a description for that one. The iron is your choice. Like I said, this is just an old iron. My wife doesn't use it anymore, and I said, can I have it? She said, sure. So that's how you do edge banding. If you have any questions or any tricks or tips that you use, share them down, leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this video, especially the like and share. Subscribe, share with all your friends. If you have somebody that's just learning how to do edge banding, share this video with them. All right? Anyway, I'll see you on the next one, and never be afraid to try something new in your shop.